History, culture, and the importance of a specie all wrapped up in this fantastic coin from the nation of Laos. Find out today if this coin should be in your collection here on the Culture of Currency. Welcome back one and all to the home for saluting silver coins from around the world. Today we embark on a journey as we move our attention to the Asian nation of Laos and this discussion of this amazing tiger coin I picked up. This is the first coin I have from the nation of Laos, and as you know, I'm a collector of world silver coins, so when this was made available to me, I had to pounce on it. We should first dive a little bit into the nation of Laos so we have an understanding of what we are looking at so that we may better understand some of the imagery as well as the culture that crafted this design. As you can see on this map, Laos is situated right next to Vietnam and Thailand, and in fact may have been a little too close to Vietnam when it came to the Vietnam War. Laos was neutral during this war, but the trail that fed Vietnam was not. The Ho Chi Minh Trail was considered critical infrastructure and thus had some attacks by U.S. forces. Operation Barrel Roll and Steel Tiger are two notable missions that blanketed this nation, roughly the size of Utah, in over 200 million tons of bombs, about half of which never exploded. This made for three completely separate things. 1. Laos is the highest bombed per capita country in the world. 2. Laos is considered dangerous as some of these bombs are yet to be neutralized to the point of safety. And 3. The use of steel from the bombs are so prevalent that it is often hard to separate bombs from decor, architecture, and resources of the country. They are literally everywhere. Even with a bitter past, this country has pushed on. It should be known that this is technically a communist country, but it does not seem to have the negative reporting as, let's say, Russia, North Korea, or China. I think one of the reasons may be that there are 49 ethnic groups, although many believe that there are over 200, that live, for the most part, in harmony with each other. The primary religion is Buddhism, but there is a slathering of many religions intertwined in this land. Buddhism, being quite peaceful as a religion, may have some impact on the others. There was also a mass exodus some years back when the nation decided to go the way of communism. The Civil War of Laos was from 1953 to 75, and hundreds of thousands decided it was not for them as they vacated and eventually led many coming to the U.S. I want to say Minnesota has the highest grouping of such people. If you happen to run into someone from Laos, I recommend you strike up a conversation now that you know a little bit about their land. I know I, for one, would have a lot of questions about how they view their homeland and what are the things that they hold dear about their past and their history. I also would note that the birth rate used to be over 6 children per woman in the 90s and has since dropped to under 3, which is a great sign when it comes to economics, as nations like this have multi-generational households, and the less dependence you have means the more money you get to hold. There is one particular note that I feel is worth mentioning that is directly impacting the world, especially the United States. There's an area called the Golden Triangle in Laos. This area is leased to China and has become almost a lawless zone where rich individuals and others can do nefarious things. One can find things like giant casinos all the way to the mass breeding of exotic species, but one can also find almost 5,000 hectares of opium. This is almost 20 square miles of opium, which can be used to create fentanyl. I am going out on a limb by saying this, but this leased land in Laos creates 20 square miles of opium that could be China's way of producing fentanyl. This way, China would be able to say that they are not growing opium in China and therefore are not to blame. I know that the CCP often props up smaller communist nations, so I wonder what the trade-off is for Laos. What I assume is the people of Laos have no vote in the matter and should not be treated as if this is their choosing, but rather the complicity of the terms of which this lease to China is enforced. Now that you understand a little bit about the land of Laos, let's dive into this beautiful coin. On the obverse or front, we are met with a fantastic image. In English, we see Bank of the Laos PDR. PDR often stands for the Democratic Republic, and I believe Laos stands for people. This is minted on behalf of the Laos Central Bank and has our standard weight and purity at 500 kip. We also note the amazing Pha That Long, or Great Stupa, which is an important building in Buddhism. It is a national symbol of Laos, and yes, it is covered in gold. What is more amazing is this building that you are looking at was constructed in 1566, which is during the Renaissance period in Europe. It looks like the Great Awakening was happening all around the world, as this structure is just as magnificent as many of the beauties of Europe in the same period. The very simple border and straightforward background complements the ornate building. I do wish we had native language rather than English, but with the vast amounts of ethnic groups and the reason for this coin's establishment, which we will talk about later, English makes sense. Therefore, this side scores a high 8. When we move to the reverse, we really have the reason this coin exists. We see a fierce depiction of a tiger against amazing flora, which was an excellent choice as these leaves mimic the stripes and help camouflage the tiger. I know you're going to say, wait, leaves are green and the tiger is orange. How does that fool an animal? The answer is in the back of the eye. Humans usually have 3 cones in the back of our eyes, which help really decipher color variations. Many animals and humans who unfortunately are colorblind have 2 cones, which means they pick up on movement a lot more than they do color. An orange ball on a green grass field is often not seen by dogs unless it moves. This being said, the tiger fits in as a shade of green in many animals' eyes. The weight and denomination are present as well as the genus and species being Panthera tigris. There's an effort to help tiger populations in Laos, which is one of the 13 countries that compromise normal tiger habitat. The nation of Laos has joined forces with many organizations, most notably the WWF, to help this dwindling species. In fact, it is my estimation that this coin is in English to bring awareness to those who might purchase the coin, which are mostly English-speaking, rather than the natives of Laos who probably have nor never will see this coin. The imagery of this tiger reminds me of what tigers do to warn threats not to mess with them. The flashing of teeth like we see here and charging are often threats that tigers make that say don't mess with me, which I find fitting to the effort to save the tiger. This is a well done back, and with the foliage I find it to be one of the most beautiful sides of a cat coin, so it scores a 10. When it comes to mintage, we have a number that is low, just like the wild tiger population. The coin is struck with a mintage of just 10,000, which means get one while you can, and scores a 9. Cultural significance is where we must go next. As you've already learned, the front of this coin is just about as cultural as you can get. A beautiful ancient building that highlights the culture of your land is a solid cultural point. The reverse has an endangered species from your wild forest, and this coin is minted with the hope to help preserve a fleeting piece of the Lao ecosystem. I cannot seem to find anything other than a 10 to score for cultural significance. Now for collectability, we have a beautiful low mintage coin that has a highly collectible theme in the tiger. This coin is also in a series of ever-changing artwork. Being a coin with a conservation focus also helps with its demand. A detraction, however, is that this is not minted from a mainstream mint like, let's say, the Perth or Royal Canadian Mint, and therefore does not have the distribution network nor the prestige that makes one salivate when coin shopping. I think it is still strong, however, and scores an 8. Our last area to grade is uniqueness. This is the 3rd silver coin I have seen from Laos, all 3 of which are in the same series of low mintage tiger coins. The artwork changes every year, making this coin fairly rare in design, but the theme is one of the most popular among animals. The tiger is a Chinese lunar animal and has been seen in lunars as well as other series such as the Feng Shui series from Niue and other wildlife sets. So yes, this design is unique, but the theme is not. It scores a 6, which brings us to our final thoughts and score. This fantastic tiger coin crosses the line at 51, making it another elite coin and one that I highly recommend. The mintage is an obvious reason for getting one, but aside from that, we have a great design and a coin that in the coming generations can be looked at with 2 paths. Either the tiger population will be saved, which this coin can be argued to have helped, or it has fallen into disrepair, in which case you have a coin that has an animal of our past. I hope you have enjoyed this video and hope you remember to stay classy and current with the culture of currency.